But that lady, that new press secretary, she's a gangster.
That video, dude.
She's a gangster. They're prepared. And you know why they're prepared? Because they're trying to play gotcha.
Yep.
So she played gotcha with them. She checkmated them.
She came in there with that fucking Elon Musk flamethrower.
Play that video.
Watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
It finally happened. Karoline Leavitt, a rising political figure known for strongly supporting free speech, has filed a massive $500 million defamation lawsuit against The View. This huge legal move has shocked many on the liberal side. Why such a big number? Because when you publicly attack someone's character, you shouldn't be surprised if they fight back in a big...
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here. Oh, yeah. Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Say what you want about Karoline, but she's not backing down from the media. She's calling out a show that seems more focused on group outrage than real conversation. Let's be honest. If you're going to be criticized just for supporting Trump or standing firm in politics, you might as well stand your ground and speak up. And that's exactly what she's doing.
Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that. And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show. And it was a joy to watch them on November the 6th when they realized that tens of millions of Americans do not listen to the lies that they have spewed. These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right, ABC.
Then came Joe Rogan, internet personality, cultural commentator, and known for his straightforward thinking. He saw the media frenzy building and jumped right in. On his podcast Kingdom, where real conversation still happens, Rogan looked at the situation clearly. Just another effort by traditional media to attack anyone who dares to think differently.
That lady, that new press secretary, she's a
That
gangster.
video, dude.
She's a gangster. Have you seen that video?
You've never
Jamie?
seen someone more prepared for a question in your life, Jamie.
Have you seen that?
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
small point on that. Not the big point, but small point. She was so prepared for
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, she's supposed to be prepared.
That's why I
Jamie.
said you've never seen someone
You know
more
why?
prepared.
for that.
They're
for that
prepared.
specific.
While the hosts of The View held their coffee mugs and threw around words like dangerous without much real thought, Joe Rogan got straight to the point. He didn't need a group discussion, just a microphone, some common sense, and maybe some elk jerky on the side. His message was clear and honest. The lawsuit wasn't a sign of weakness, but a way of fighting back. It was about setting boundaries and saying, you can't just ruin someone's reputation for the sake of TV drama.
If you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're
Let's take a closer look at what actually started all this. It was a segment on The View where Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and a guest host, who seemed like an intern turned co-host, took shots at Karoline Leavitt. Instead of asking questions or debating her views, they basically mocked and attacked her for her political beliefs and background. It was the kind of careless defamation that gets treated like light entertainment just because it comes with laughter and a live audience. Joy Behar, always quick to mistake volume for truth, called Karoline dangerous, but dangerous for what? For having clear values and the courage to express them. If that's considered a threat now, then the word dangerous doesn't mean much anymore. It just means someone who reads the Constitution. As for Whoopi, she responded with her usual mix of smugness and vague spiritual comments that sound like they came from a notebook left in a Whole Foods parking lot. A lot of words, but not much meaning. Sunny Hostin pulled out her law degree just long enough to misuse it, kind of like someone Googling libel laws for beginners and getting it all wrong.
So Joy Behar went after Joe Rogan on The View, and he fired back spectacularly.
You're worried about losing your job, and you're worried about podcasts taking over, and who's the source of news. And we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us, and he won. And this is and Joe Rogan believes in drag.
That's when Karoline said, "Enough." She didn't complain or back down. She took action and stood firm. And Joe Rogan, he recognized it as a major cultural moment. Finally, someone standing up to media elites who treat their platform like a moral guide. He saw The View for what it really is, a loud mix of bad opinions and even worse facts. It's the kind of show where logic disappears under shallow takes and social media buzz. Watching them talk politics is like watching kids try to solve world issues with crayons and juice boxes.
They're prepared. And you know why they're prepared? Because they're trying to play gotcha.
Yep.
So she played gotcha with them. She checkmated them.
She came in there with that fucking Elon Musk flamethrower.
Play that video.
Meanwhile, as Karoline's legal team was likely hard at work, maybe even using Comic Sans for fun, Joe Rogan was laughing out loud, probably knocking over a kettlebell in the process. He saw the whole situation as a kind of performance, like a courtroom version of a play, but with less talent and more hashtags. Rogan openly praised Karoline for fighting back against The View. Some people call it hate, but Karoline has built her brand on challenging this so-called woke mob. This wasn't about being a hypocrite. It was a smart move. If The View can throw criticism, they should be ready to handle it too.
If you ask people, even in the legacy media, even the Trump haters, they will tell you the approach has been much different. Not just for me, but the entire White House. Oh, absolutely. They come in my office every day and they'll admit that off the record. Maybe not on the record, but they will say they appreciate the access and the transparency and the preparation that goes into my briefings, and everybody on our team, by the way, who goes out to...
Rogan didn't hold back. He stood up and said it loud, giving Karoline credit for standing her ground. Then, naturally, he went all in on The View because, well, that's what he does. According to Rogan, the show is what happens when daytime TV meets a menopause convention, and neither side brings any facts. He tore into their whole routine. Yell as loud as you can, play the victim, and then act like you're brave for surviving your own echo chamber. It's like if Mean Girls grew up, got their own talk shows, and forgot to mature.
Strange show, but it's fun to watch. It's just fun to watch them.
It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Well, they're just, it's interesting because I think Sunny's very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
That's sort of, I think the other ones, there's a couple of the other ones don't have to name any names, are just very dull-minded. But I think Sunny's not one of them. I think she's smart.
From Dante to anyone wearing a red hat, The View has made it clear. If you don't share their progressive views, you're out. If Joy doesn't agree with you, you're either evil, brainwashed, or about to get canceled by the next commercial. Their version of political discussion. Crying over a scented candle and demanding charges. But Rogan, he's the opposite of The View. He's the guy who can bring Bernie Sanders and Alex Jones to the same barbecue and calmly snack on elk jerky while everyone else argues about what's real. He's the grown-up in the room, even if he's wearing camo and talking about space apes. So when he saw Karoline suing The View, he didn't hesitate. He laughed and then applauded because deep down, everyone knew it was time to put them in their place. Let's be real, The View isn't journalism. It's like Judge Judy with hot flashes. It's political improv with no script and even less sense. And the second someone with a different opinion steps in, it turns into a witch hunt. Karoline knew she'd be ambushed with snarky questions, so she flipped the script. Suing them wasn't a meltdown, it was a smart, profitable move.
People want us divided, and they aren't just here in this country. They're foreign adversaries who are infiltrating our social media because it is prudent for us to stay that way. But so when you see something that really pisses you off, you should triple check that one.
Yeah. But I think that's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
We're checked by everybody.
Yeah. I mean, if we're wrong, we have, the legal note here.
The human legal.
But we went from Walter Cronkite, basically, to this guy Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons. He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did.
Joe Rogan got it. The lawsuit wasn't about setting a legal example. It was about making a statement, getting attention, and owning the headlines like it was a fight. Karoline Leavitt walked in with subpoenas instead of fists. Rogan didn't just get it, He respected it. He's seen The View pull the same act for years. They throw punches with their words, hiding behind their opinions, then run for cover when anyone hits back harder than a tweet. They cry misogyny when criticized, claim censorship if you don't agree, and call themselves brave when one of them reads a Wikipedia page without stumbling. But when Karoline hit back, not with attitude or a tweet, but with a lawyer, The View acted shocked, like Southern belles fainting at a truth-telling event. You think Karoline walked in swinging the Constitution? Rogan didn't just laugh, he supported the chaos. In his eyes, if The View spends every morning treating any disagreement as a personal attack, they don't get to cry when the drama boomerangs back at them.
It is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested hen house.
The View still can't figure out if it's supposed to be a morning talk show or a therapy session for failed influencers. Half the time, it feels like a wellness retreat gone wrong, full of passive-aggressive support and sudden outbursts of anger. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan's just sitting back, sipping mushroom tea, watching the chaos unfold like it's the Super Bowl of PR disasters. Karoline might not win the lawsuit, but she's already winning the story. Rogan gets it. She's making herself the woman who stood up to the madness and survived. Meanwhile, The View is floundering, sounding like a high school drama club trying out for CNN. Joe's not upset about the lawsuit. He's frustrated it didn't happen sooner. The more these hosts play the victim whenever they're challenged, the sillier they look. Rogan, the master of turning absurdity into profit, is sitting front and center with a Spotify deal in hand. This isn't just politics anymore, it's a battle for content, and Joe knows he's already winning.
Yes.
And that's their audience.
Yes. Well, their audience is not really their audience. Their audience is a group of people they bring in to watch television shows. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen audiences before for TV shows, but a lot of them are paid. They're paid to be there. So, because they have to guarantee that there's going to be people there. So there's services that you hire. And when a show gets really, really popular, you know, like Letterman or something like that, obviously it has its own fan base.
Right.
Those people will try to get tickets before anybody else does. And in that case, they probably don't need to use a service anymore. They just get actual fans. But arguably, like, the fans, the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. Like, they're probably immobile.
Right.
Let's call it what it is. Reality TV with lawsuits and egos on fire. No one's looking for the truth. They're just after clout like it's on sale. They're not defending their principles. They're defending their time on screen. They want Twitter likes and their last moment of cultural relevance. Karoline isn't just fighting back, she's flipping the whole table, Real Housewives style, and Joe Rogan's right there handing her the lighter, the gasoline, and a protein shake. Why bother with civil debate when you can just file a lawsuit in Comic Sans? Why settle differences when you can rebrand yourself as the Justice Phoenix rising from sarcasm? Karoline gets the clicks, the fundraising emails, and more Fox News interviews. The View gets the backlash, the rage clicks, and Joy Bihar's latest meltdown. Rogan gets more downloads, more attention, and another excuse to rant for hours about how society's lost its way, all while tying it back to elk meat, DMT, and the fall of Rome.
Goldberg's, like, did you see what she did to that Staten Island bakery?
Yeah.
No.
Crazy.
What?
So
She ate
Staten
everything.
Island Bakery, their boiler went down, and she placed an order of cupcakes for her birthday. And they
It's
couldn't
like,
do
hold
the order.
on. I can't imagine yet how this would go bad. Okay, go ahead.
So she places this order. They say, we can't promise you that we can do this because our boiler is down. So we can't fulfill this order. And so then the next day, the boiler's back up. She has someone else call the same bakery, and they get the order in because now the boiler's up. She claims the reason why they didn't take her order is because they didn't like her politics. And so she says this on The View. So then the bakery has a press conference where they say, we've been in business for 150 years. This is not what happened at all. We don't discriminate against anybody regardless of anything. We just had a problem with our boiler, and she's singling out a family-run business, and then there's a line around the block for the bakery.
It's not democracy, it's just a daytime court drama, and Joe's the one who sees through the act. The View talks about inclusion but shuts down any idea that challenges them. When Karoline calls them out, she becomes enemy number one, But Rogan is the only one enjoying the show while the others pretend this is civil discourse. We get to watch Karoline toss subpoenas like confetti, The View drown in their own outrage, and Joe Rogan turn it all into podcast gold. It's a chaotic ideological circus, and Rogan's right there selling popcorn. The real winner here isn't Karoline or the lawyers. It's the bald guy with the mic, a laugh, and no filter, turning this cultural circus into streaming success. If we've learned anything from this whole elk-scented drama, it's that everyone's offended,